RDL, so some of you have probably done them. Some of you may have done them wrong. Some of you may have done them right. So we're going to look at regular RDL, and then we're going to look at single leg RDL. That's going to be our first two. Because what we're going to end up creating is small, tiny bits of knee flexion, and then we're going to work into that hip. So the first thing that we look at, and I want you to face the windows over there, all right? If we get him into hip flexion, the one thing we want to think about, put your hands in the back of your head, all right? He's going to get in this position. He's going to unlock his knees, all right? And then he's going to initiate. He's going to try to keep his knees at the exact same angle that they're at right now. And then he's going to try to shove his butt all the way to the mirror, all right? So he's reaching back. Now, anybody notice what happened right here? His back rounded, right? So come back up. All I want you to do, I want you now to reach your butt towards that, like the mirror, and I want you to reach your head and see what you can see what's on the screen on that treadmill, right? Anybody see what changes there? Now we've got that neutral spine. This is what we want, okay? So give me like 3 more reps. All right, so as Jim goes back, now anybody notice he's starting to turn this into a squat? Less bend in the knee, less bend in the knee. Reach, okay? How your hamstrings feel? Feel a bigger stretch now?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, good. Come back up. Do one more, right? Especially when we look at this RDL, we don't want those knees coming up out over our toes, okay? Because we're trying to isolate the hamstrings and the glutes to perfect that movement. So, very simply, I'm going to give him now a kettlebell. He just goes through that same motion, all right? So he's just going to hold it right between his legs, right there. So he's going to unlock his knees. He's going to reach his butt back to the wall. He's going to put that right, but I almost want you to drop it between your heels. Right. Put it right between you. So he reaches back. Anybody see how this starts to round? Come back up. Now here's what I want you to do. The other thing that we didn't talk about as much when we talked about the spine is how much your head's going to influence things. So what I want you to do is tuck your chin back and down. Right there. Now reach your butt back. Okay. Oh, don't look forward. I want you to now, because we just did that because you just keep it back flat. Now let's just keep the whole thing flat, right? Just eyes will just fall straight to the floor, right? Oh, we're getting there. Come back up. You notice, right? Like he's a pretty athletic dude. This is where we actually start to have some harder time in your hamstrings, okay? And at this point now, just relax real quick before we go into it. The one thing that's going to be on this RDL, because we can load it up with a kettlebell, we can do it with dumbbells, we can do it with a bar, is finding the end range for you specifically, okay? So now start to go back. I'm just going to tell you when to stop, right? So reach, 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 and stop, right? So this is about his end range, right? This is the point where his back breaks neutral and he starts to get rounding in his back. Now come back up, all right? Okay, go again. And up, right there. That's going to be his range. Relax. It's going to be dependent on how much stability and flexibility you have, okay? For some people, it can literally be here, and they can get to this position where it's almost on the floor, all right? I've seen some people, I worked with a gymnast at 11 years old. She could literally sit there, take half her body weight, and stand on a 4-inch riser and put the kettlebell on the ground. And literally just no bend in her knees, and everything stayed flat. It's going to be dependent on that. The nice thing is, over time, your hamstrings will start to loosen up because they get used to going at a long range. All right? Now, come back. Before we pick up the kettlebell, just go back to that hands on the head position. So now we're going to look at that single leg version, right? Because we can do it on 2 legs. Now we take it down to 1 leg. All right? So he's going to unlock his left knee. He's going to reach his foot back, and he's going to reach in that position. Ooh, yep. So now the one thing that gets really, really tough here, anybody notice his hips are doing? Right? So he's shifting and he's opening his hips up to one side. If we're really trying to work, especially the hip flexion extension, we want to make sure this is neutral. So what he's going to do is he's going to take his toe and he's going to point it back and he's going to try to pull his hip down to his shoe. Right there. Now his hips are parallel to the floor. Bring your chest up. Woo! It gets hard. It gets hard. There. Okay? And stand back up. There's 2 different ways we can do this. We could make him take that kettlebell and go 2 hands in the kettlebell. Go ahead, just go 2. All right. We can make, all he's gonna do is just drop it straight over your toe. Yeah, right there. We don't wanna get to this totally round back position, so bring your chest up more. There, right there. That's where we wanna end up, okay? Still pretty flat back here. He's just dropping that over his shoe. Now come back up. Now I want you to put it in just your right hand. Right hand, there we go. So he's now gonna go left leg on the floor, reaching back. This is what we call a contralateral load. So now he's gonna end up a little bit out to the right side of his shoe. Try to keep your back flat, so pull your shoulder. Yeah, there we go. What this does is it challenges your hip a little bit differently because now his glute med and his piriformis are trying to control that rotation at his hip, okay? So it's fighting to keep his hip from collapsing on that side, all right? Now sometimes you'll see people, you can stand up, relax. It'd make your hamstrings burn a little bit. So you'll see sometimes if your hip wants to open up, it's because they're really fighting it. Now, the other way we could do that, let's do your right leg this time, okay? But still grab the kettlebell in your right hand. So this is what we call an ipsilateral load. So think about like contra, opposite, ipsilateral is same. So he's gonna go right leg on the floor, but he's got that kettlebell now in his right hand, so he's gonna lower it, and he's still gonna try to fight for that neutral position. So you can turn the hip down, right there. Okay? So notice we've still got that neutral pelvis from we had 2 legs. Stand up, just relax. We had that neutral pelvis from 2 legs. Now we've got it on 1 leg. Did you feel how like the outside of your hip was really fighting on that last one? Because all of a sudden now his adductor is pulling him down. He's gonna get this big stretch in that piriformis. So here's what we're gonna do. I want you to do 10 reps, right? You can do 2 sets of 5, you can do 1 set of 10. Work with somebody who's gonna be able to kind of help point out that end range. You're gonna do 10 of the regular, so on 2 feet, making sure hips go back, knees are unlocked. The one thing that we really wanna think about, right? We talked about extension of the hip. We want glutes, hamstrings, all right? So focus, it's almost instead of picking the weight up, bring your hips up under you, all right? So 10 reps with 2 legs. Then what I want you to do is 10 reps on each leg, but I want 5 with it at a contralateral load, and then 5 with an ipsilateral load, okay? So you're gonna end up doing 30 total reps. Break it up however you need to, but I want 5 where it's ipsilateral, 5 where it's contralateral on each leg, and then just regular 10 where you got bilateral, so both legs, okay? Make sure you work with a partner so your partner can help you out, okay?